Hey, hi, hello, what's up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Tati posted a video last week where she decluttered a lot of her eyeshadow palettes and she was only talking about keeping 15. I'm not doing that. There's no way I can only keep 15 eyeshadow palettes unless I just decided I hated makeup all of a sudden. But I thought it'd be really fun to go through and pick if I could only keep 15 palettes, what 15 would it be? And I think this is it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be like a little bit of like a rough estimate, but I thought it'd be really fun. I'm not gonna be including any of the palettes that are new to me and I have not yet used. There is a stack of those, but I can't really speak to, like their formulation and stuff yet, so those won't be included in this. But of all the palettes that I know and I've used, if I could only keep 15, what 15 would they be? If you're interested in that, be sure to stay tuned. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you leave and make sure your notifications are on just so that you're notified of when I upload, And of course, if you like this video, if you like me, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So I got it narrowed down to 15. Grab your beverage. It was really difficult. There was a lot of really close contenders. Some runner-ups were the ABH Sultry palette. This would have been 16 or 17. And then the Scott Barnes Natural palette. This again would have been 16 or 17. I guess I should show you guys on the inside here. Really love this one. This is one that I actually find myself wanting to reach for more often. This is the inside of Sultry. This is newer to me, which is why I didn't pick it, because I picked another more like cool tone palette. And then another close runner up was the Huda Beauty New Nude, just because this has a lot of really great pink tones if I'm wanting to reach for a pink tone. But yeah, those were the three that were like, I was interchanging them in and out of the lineup. So those were the three that I was like, oh, if I could only keep 15, like, oh my gosh, it would be so hard. I tried to incorporate like everything, my smaller palettes and everything. I didn't include depotted palettes or single shadows. I just did palettes, and I think that these would be it. So I don't think I'd even be able to cut it down to 15. I think I'd have to be in the 20s area-ish. I have a problem. I know this. You know this. That's why you're watching this. So these are going to be in no particular order, because there's literally no way that I could also pick a order to keep them in. Like, I couldn't not rank them. So I'm just going to pick what I have on the top, and that's what we're going to go for. The first one that I would definitely be keeping in my collection is the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Carly by Belle collab. I love this palette. I know there was a lot of like mixed thoughts back and forth, but as you can see, I mean, I've hit pan in 2 shades, and this was actually, I wanted this to be my 2021 Pan That palette, but I let my audience over on IG pick my Pan That palette, and they did not select this one. But this is one that I felt like I definitely could have panned, because I really like it. I have a really close pan over here, and I have dips in almost all of the other shades. This one is just so good. The mattes blend out really well. The shimmers are pretty. There's a couple toppers in here. The only thing I will say is the mattes are super powdery, but I found that that's like pretty consistent with all ABH formulas. However, I really love this one. I think the color story is super unique, and you can create a lot of different looks with this palette. So I would definitely hang on to this. The next one is a little bit newer to my collection. It's the Wild Jaguar palette from Huda Beauty. This one's also newer, but listen, I love Huda's formula. And this is the cooler tone palette I was talking about that I selected over the ABH one. This is just so gorgeous. If you guys have seen any of my videos with this, I will link them below. But honestly, it's such a standout, unique palette. The shades are different, very like smoky, grungy vibes, and I'm totally into it. It's definitely a unique palette in my collection, and I just really love the Huda formula. Her shimmers are literally just like unlike anything else. Her mattes blend out so great. Like, I just can't. Her formula is chef's kiss. Spoiler alert, that's not the only Huda palette that you're gonna see today. It killed me to cut out the new nude palette, but if I had to pick my least favorite Huda palette, it would be new nude, and that's not because of like formulation. It's just like it's all pretty pinky for me, and I don't really wear a lot of pink undertones, so that's why I didn't make the cut. The next one is gonna be the Nabla Ruby Lights Glitter Quad. You guys, if you're a glitter person and you like to wear glitter, glitter is not safe on the eye, so you always do take a risk when you wear it. But I highly recommend these glitter quads from Nabla. I have another one as well, and they are just so insanely beautiful on the eye. They really just like take any look that you do from like, you know, a 10 to like a fucking 20. They are that stinking pretty. Like, and they all have like the most unique shifts and reflex. Like, oh, man, oh, I could have used this one today. That would have looked really pretty on what I have going on. But yeah, they're all just so pretty. I highly recommend them if you're into glitter. They're ones that don't disappoint. I always use a glitter glue with these, and I like tap them on. I don't like use a brush or anything. I use my fingers so that they stick a little bit better. But yeah, I would have to have at least this quad with me for sure. The next palette is going to be the Nomad by Juvia's Place. I needed something with a little bit of green, and when I want to do something green, this is one that I think of and I reach for. It's really pretty. I love the yellow tones in this, as well as that orange like burnt color is stunning. And then this shimmer in the middle here is just like so unique. It's beautiful, wears really well, and yeah, this is a good one. It's probably, I have two Juvia's Place palettes, and this one's my favorite by far, mostly just because of color story. The other one is, it's like, I have the Zulu, and this formula is good too. I've done some looks with it, but the color story is just like kind of hard for me. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but it just like, it doesn't like feel cohesive, even though you can make looks with this. You can make looks with the, like, you can do all those things. I just like, for some reason, it just doesn't like click right with me. I don't really know why, so I definitely wouldn't pick that one. Another one is gonna be the Get Stoned palette from Urban Decay. Okay, everyone like kind of knocked on this palette, but like this is my favorite palette they've done in so long. This is the packaging. It's absolutely stunning for one, and the shades are just like gorgeous, and the formula is so unique, and also the pans are deep as fuck, you guys. Look at that. I don't even know if you can tell. That is so deep, and no pan yet. Love that shade, obviously. But the mattes in here are really pretty. They blend out really easily, really like them. And then it's these like shimmers that they're almost just like iridescent, like topper things, and they are so pretty. I actually feel like now that I'm swatching it, since I have this, I don't really need their new launch. I think they just launched something else too. But the Cyber palette, I had my eye on that. I thought it looked really nice, but after swatching those, I feel like some of these might have the same shifts as those, so I don't really need that. I just talked myself out of it. Go me, go me. I almost bought it the other day. I'm really glad I didn't now. But yeah, this one is one of my favorite palettes. I've done quite a few looks with it over on IG if you want to check it out, but I really love this palette. Or if you would like to see a YouTube video dedicated to any of these palettes that I'm talking about, let me know in the comments, and I will definitely like do that for you guys. I think that it'd be fun to do looks with palettes that, like, you know, you want to see, obviously, because the videos are for you. The next palette is the Chocolate Brown from Huda Beauty. I was so excited when these launched because I love me a really deep chocolatey eye, and I knew that I was gonna love the formula because I love Huda's formula. And again, like, she really just, she does it right every time. She does it right. I'm a terrible swatcher. But like these are just so pretty. They look so good on the eye. They're literally really buildable. So like you can, you know, sheer them out if you want more of a light wash, or if you want to build it up and you want to pack the punch, you can do that as well. And her mattes are just like so good. They're so underrated. They always blend out effortlessly. I don't ever have any trouble with them. They don't get muddy. They don't get like, I don't know, wild and patchy. Like they're honestly always just so good. And I mean, I don't know. I just love Huda. If you haven't tried Huda, I highly recommend either of these palettes that I've shown you, or I have another one in the stack as well. I love them all. And the formula has been really consistent throughout. I did hear that like the pastel palettes she put out weren't that great, but pastels are also really hard to do. So, but the ones I have, I definitely highly recommend. Obviously, they're one of the few I would be keeping in my collection. The next one is from KKW. This is the Classic Volume 1. And I'm gonna put up a photo over here of what this palette currently looks like, because I have the shadows depotted into my 9 pan right now. But overall, I love this palette. I know it's like a super basic, if you will, palette, because it's a lot of like neutrals, but it's a lot of really pretty neutrals, and you can create a lot of different looks with this, like more on the purpley pink tone, or on the mauve tone, or the brown tone, or like an orangey burnt tone. Like, I think this palette is honestly just stunning. Like, Kim did this one so well. It was my favorite palette for like a really hot minute. Like, obviously I have a lot of use out of this palette, but yeah, she just did this so well, and I really enjoy her formula too. And I think it's so underrated. Like, honestly, I honestly just think it's so underrated, because everyone's like, oh, Kim K, and they like write it off, but like her eyeshadow formula is good. The price is kind of up there, but honestly, like these pans are so deep and they are so tightly packed. Like it takes work to hit pan on those. So really you're getting a pretty good bang for your buck, in my opinion. So that's definitely one that I would keep with me. Another one I would keep is the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. This is also a little bit newer to me, but I loved this palette. I thought that it was literally so good. I didn't want to put it down. It has like just a lot of variety with like what you can actually do in this one. And this green shade over here, this Oh My Gourd, is oh my god, like it is so freaking pretty. I could literally wear it on my eyes probably like every day. It is so gorgeous. But the only one I really experienced any trouble with was this like Spice of Life shade. That one was a little bit patchy, but the rest performed pretty well, and it's definitely a color story that I would want to keep in my collection, regardless of, you know, I could probably dupe this palette out of what I have for the most part. But I'm like a palette person, so I love the color story of this, and it's definitely something that I would miss if I didn't have it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, what out of my collection, like what would I miss if I didn't have? Like, what would I want to be reaching for and be like, damn, I don't fucking have that. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's like more of a realistic way for me to look at it, since I have a lot in my collection. The next one is going to be the Beach Smitten in Switzerland palette. This is like my favorite ever drugstore palette that's ever been made. It is so good. The color story is pretty, and it's really unique too, in my opinion. And you can just create so many different looks with this. Obviously, she's had a lot of love, and she needs more love. But this is by far like one of my favorite palettes ever. It's one that like I will consistently recommend or rave about, because it's just so good. Like, honestly, I don't think I've ever used that brush shade, but it's so pretty. And this green, this is my favorite green right here. It has really pretty like gold shifts to it. And this Glacier shade is also super unique. Like, look at those little babies. How pretty are those? And this palette, I also got it when it was on sale. Got it for like $9. So this is one that, you know, I would miss if I didn't have, and I will continue to highly recommend it. It's so good. That orange shade is chef's kiss. So beautiful. But yeah, this is definitely one that I would have to definitely have in my collection. Take a shot every time I say definitely. I just realized I priced it like 4 times. The next palette, which is a little bit newer to my collection as well, is the Life in Pastel palette by Bella Cosmetics. This is so good. If you're looking for a pastel palette, look no further. This is insane. Like, the pigmentation in these pastels is next level. I've never played with anything like it before. Usually pastels are really hard to do because the color will like blend away or it gets too light, but that's not the case with this one. They do really well. And these ones are like a shimmer, but like I don't know, they have like a payoff. Like, they're really sparkly, but they feel like wet, but they're not glitter, but they are insanely beautiful. And I think honestly the palette would be worth it just for those shades, but they are so stinking pretty. I love this palette. I got this in a oh, got a little bit of stuff running free. I got this in a Try Beauty box like probably like 3 or 4 months ago, and as you can tell, like, I loved the fuck out of it. It's so pretty. These were soft, so they're a little bit easier to pan, but the payoff on the eyes is so stunning. I have a lot of looks with this over on my IG feed if you want to check it out. But this is one that I would definitely want to have in my collection, because if I wanted to do a pastel look, this is the, you know, only one that I trust. So love that. Next is going to be a controversial palette. So hear me out. I don't like this influencer anymore, but I've had this palette for like 2 years, and I found that especially during Halloween time, it's a staple in my collection. I've created also a lot of really beautiful neutral looks with it, but it's the James Charles Artistry palette. I don't reach for it as often as I should because it is so freaking huge that it just is like annoying to even have out on my vanity while I try to do makeup. But it's something, like I said, during Halloween, like, this is the palette that I reach for to create, because I have the neutrals. I have literally every beautiful color that I could want that is like, you know, that bright pigmentation, and I have the white, and I don't know. This is just like such a great palette for Halloween time. I also like love this row for neutral eye looks. Really pretty. You can just create, like, I hate to give credit, but like, you can just create so many gorgeous things with this one that even if I don't use it that often, I don't want to part with it, because it's one that, like, you can do anything with this palette. Like, it is that palette. It's literally like all encompassing. This one's really pretty too, this like blue. Like, look how insane that is, you guys. And like, I hate it because, like I said, I don't, you know, support him anymore, but this is a palette that I would not let go of, because it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's vital to my collection. I'm also thinking about making this my 2022 Pan That palette. Just so you guys know, when I do pan that palettes, I don't completely like pan the whole shade. If that organically happens, then that happens. I have, you know, it does happen. But my goal is always to just hit pan in every shade. I think that would be a really good challenge, and I can get a lot of use out of this and kind of figure out where I stand with it. So if you think this should be my 2022 PTP, let me know in the comments. But yeah, this is definitely one that I wouldn't be able to part with, because I have for sure thought about it, especially with everything going on, but I don't think that it is one that I can part with. It's like a really large staple in my collection. The next palette is from Colourpop. This one is a Sandstone palette. Over on IG, I did a whole like series with this one, and I love this palette. I've had it forever, and then I hadn't like opened it, but this is actually a super versatile palette. I know it looks like largely neutral, but the pops that you have can create some like largely differential looks. I was actually thoroughly impressed with this one. this is my favorite Colourpop palette. I don't know if the formula, I'm sure that they've always kind of been like improving the formula, if you will, because the formula in this, in my opinion, is better than like my Truly Madly Deeply Colourpop palette or my California Sun palette, which I can show you those too. So this is like the California Sun palette, which like I love this color story. It's so pretty, but the mattes are a little bit hard pressed. I don't find that I have like a ton of trouble blending them or anything, but like the formula in this palette and then in my Truly Madly Deeply palette, not that it's bad, because it's not. I just think that the formula in the Sandstone palette is superior. Like, that's just what I think. I love this color story. I would definitely want to keep this in my collection. Also, the packaging is super beautiful, so definitely want to hang on to that. Up next, we have another Huda palette. This one is the Topaz Obsessions. This was my second Huda palette, my first 9-pan. This is stunning. I've created so many gorgeous looks with this, and it's legitimately perfect for fall, in my opinion anyways. You can do something really like chocolatey, really bronzy, really orange. Like, look at those two. So pretty. The formula is consistent. I won't continue to, you know, ramble about it, but the formula is consistent with her other palettes in terms of like the mattes and the shimmers and whatnot. Super good. Highly recommend. I love, love, love. This is like my favorite fall palette, so she would not be able to go anywhere, or what would I do in the fall, you know? The next one is really new to me, and I haven't like even given a full review on it, but I already feel like I really like it. It's what I used to create this look today, and yeah, it still looks so good. I was looking at my mirror over there. And so I already feel like this is the one that I definitely wouldn't want to let go of. I don't know if that's because I haven't gotten to fully know it really well yet, or because like I'm already in love, but it's the Alter Ego Amethyst palette. It's the dupe for the Natasha Denona Metropolis, and then that might be part of it too. I've lusted after Metropolis forever because the color story is just so stinking beautiful. So I definitely wouldn't want to let this go, because I feel like I would just purchase it again because the color story calls to me. There's literally just something about it. It is so beautiful. I used a lot of the shades in here to create this look just for fun and to mess around. And so far it's really nice. The mattes blended easily. The cream to powder formula actually was good. I was surprised. It was really good. I didn't have any trouble with like blending or patchiness or anything like that. The shimmers are stunning, so pretty. So this is definitely one that I would want to keep in my collection. Dun, dun, dun. The last palette, number 15. Well, this was actually the first palette that I pulled off the shelf, so that's why it's at the bottom, because I was like, oh, I need that. I'll give you a moment if you want to try to guess. So it's the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette. This is one that I definitely wouldn't be able to live without. I love this palette, obviously. I've only used it once since I stopped like actively panning it, but it's one that I can foresee myself like over time continuing to reach for and give a lot of love to, because it has everything I really like need in it. Has the mattes, has mattes with like a little bit of sparkle for a little extra zhuzh if I want that. Has the metallics, and then it has the glitters. So really it just has like everything I would need. This is one of my favorite palettes to travel with, because I can always do something, you know, like really basic or dress it up. Like, yeah, definitely one of my favorite palettes ever. So this one would never be able to leave. If I could only pick one palette, it'd be this palette. I said it. So yeah, definitely would need to have that. Like these, and it's like I almost don't even want to waste it, but like the glitters in this are insanely beautiful. Like I just cannot get over it. They can like any look that you create can knock it out of the park if you tap a little bit of this glitter on it. And like my nose is itching. But yeah, so beautiful. Love, definitely like a favorite overall. Like forever. So yeah, I had to include that one. But yeah, so that's like, I feel like that was kind of, I felt like it felt like more than 15 palettes, but maybe that just speaks to like how many I actually have and how I don't realize how many I have and how much 15 really is, but we're not going to worry about that today. But yeah, if you had to only keep 15 palettes, what would they be? Like, I'm curious. Or if you just want to say like, you know, I would have to at least keep this one, and this one. Like, I'm curious to know like what ones would you never be able to let go of? Like, these would be definitely it for me. I would never want to let go of them. But yeah, if you guys liked today's video, if you enjoyed this concept, be sure to let me know by giving this video a big thumbs up. I know it's something like a little different, but I thought it would be really fun. I love swatching, so pretty. But yeah, I thought it would be really fun. So yeah, also I'm saying now is rambling, nothing really important. So yeah, bye.